Author's Introduction. Praise be to God, who bestowed upon his servants an immense blessing when he shielded them from the ruses and artifices of Satan and thwarted his hopes and designs. For he made fasting a citadel and a shelter for his friends, opened to them thereby the gates of heaven, and gave them the knowledge that Satan enters their hearts through hidden appetites, and by curbing those appetites, the soul at peace might subdue its adversary. And may God's blessings be upon Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he who will lead creation on the day of judgment, and who smooths the path of the Sunnah, and upon his family and companions, who were endowed with piercing vision and illuminated minds. May blessings and salutations in abundance be upon them all. To proceed, if, as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, fasting is half of patience, and patience is half of faith, then this means that fasting is 1/4 of faith. Fasting is also distinguished from the other pillars of Islam by its particular relationship to God Most High, as his words conveyed by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam attest, every good deed is rewarded 10-fold to 700-fold, except fasting. It is for me, and I reward it. And as God Most High says in the Quran, the patient will be given their reward without account. Chapter 39, verse 10. This, along with the saying of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, fasting comprises 1/2 of patience, shows that its recompense is beyond estimation and reckoning. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam informed us of how excellent fasting is when he said, "By him who holds my soul in his hand, the foul breath from a fasting person's mouth is sweeter to God than the scent of musk." God Azza wa Jal says, "He has given up his desires, his food, and his drink for my sake, and I shall reward him for it." He also said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "Heaven has a gate called Rayyan, which none shall enter save those who fasted." In recompense for his fasting, the servant is also promised happiness when he meets God Most High. As the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "For the one who fasts there is a 2-fold happiness, the happiness he has on breaking his fast, and the happiness he shall have on meeting his Lord." And he has also said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "For everything there is a gate, and the gate of worship is fasting." And also, the sleep of a fasting person is worship. Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu related that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "When the month of Ramadan arrives, the gates of heaven are opened, the gates of hell are closed, the devils are chained, and a caller calls out, 'O you who desire goodness, come forward. O you who desire evil, turn back.'" And commenting on the words of God Most High, "Eat and drink in satisfaction for what you put forth in the days past." Chapter 69, verse 24, Al-Waqi' said, "The days past are the days of fasting, for it was then that they gave up food and drink." The Messenger of God sallallahu alaihi wasallam connected the issue of abstaining from this world with fasting. Both are among the things he boasted of when he said, "Truly God Most High boasts to his angels about a worshipful youth, saying, 'O youth who has given up his desires and sacrificed this time of vigor for my sake, you are for me like one of my angels.'" Of the one who fasts, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, God Azza wa Jal says, "O my angels, behold my servant. He has given up his desires and sensual delights, his food and drink, for my sake." Concerning the words of God, "And no soul knows what has been hidden for them of comfort for eyes as reward for what they used to do," chapter 32, verse 17, it has been said that what they used to do means their fasting, for God has said, the patient will be given their reward without account. Chapter 39, verse 10. Thus, the reward of one who fasts is unimaginably and inestimably vast, as well it should be. For while all worship is His, fasting in particular belongs to God and is honored by its relationship to Him. Just as the entire earth belongs to God, the sacred house is honored. Fasting for God has two meanings. The first meaning, fasting is abstention, giving something up. By its very nature is concealed, with no observable action. So while all the other acts of worship are visible, and may be witnessed by people, none can see fasting except God, Azza wa Jal. It is an inner practice accomplished purely through patience. The second meaning, fasting is overpowering to God's foe. For Satan, may God curse him, works by means of the appetites, which are strengthened by eating and drinking. Thus, the Prophet ﷺ said, "Verily, Satan circulates in a human being with the circulation of his blood. So make this circulation hard for him by hunger." And he has also said to Aisha radiyallahu anha, "Keep knocking on the gate of heaven." She asked, "How?" And he replied, "By hunger." The virtues of hunger will be discussed in detail under the section that deals with the evil of food and its remedy in the Quarter of Perils. Inasmuch as fasting in particular suppresses Satan, blocks his path, and makes his circulation within a human being hard, it merits a special place in relation to God, Azza wa Jal. To suppress God's foe is to give aid to God, glory be to Him, and it is by our giving Him aid that He aids us, even as He has said, "If you support God, He will support you, and plant firmly your feet." Chapter 47, verse 7. The beginning is by way of the servant's efforts. The reward is by way of guidance from God, Azza wa Jal. For this reason God said, "And those who strive for us, we will surely guide them to our ways." Chapter 29, verse 69. And also, indeed, God will not change the condition of a people until they change what is in themselves. Chapter 13, verse 11. Here, change, in respect to people, means that their desires and appetites become ever greater, which gives the devils a fertile place to graze. As long as this pasture remains lush, they will keep returning to it, and as long as they keep returning, the majesty of God, glory be to Him, will not be shown to the servant, and he will be veiled from meeting his Lord. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Were it not for the devils that circle around the hearts of the children of Adam, they would gaze on the dominions of the heavens." Because of this, fasting is the gate of worship and a shield. Given that its virtues are such, it is indispensable for us to elucidate its requisite conditions, both outward and inward, by mentioning its obligatory elements, its sunnah elements, and its inward dispositions. We will discuss all this in 3 chapters.